This is Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a Seven Mountains Media production, your daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball, featuring interviews with special guests. Now here's your host, Mr. Steve Jones. Steve, has anything happened in the sports world the past 24 hours that you know of?
No, it's all good.
It's all good, yeah.
Just very quickly, tomorrow interviews will include Brad Nessler from CBS, Dave Ennett, the play-by-play voice of Northwestern football and basketball, and we'll have Nate Bauer from On3.com.
Amazing. Stellar lineup, some may say.
I think we did all right.
I think that's pretty good.
Okay, so that's tomorrow's show. The Damian Lillard trade to Milwaukee, I think stunned a lot of people because in this entire scenario, ramping up to this, you've heard virtually every team in the NBA except for Sacramento, and yet never heard Milwaukee. Never heard Milwaukee until this came up.
Well, do you know why we all of a sudden started hearing Milwaukee? Because Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo said, I might leave here in a summer or two. And they said, okay, we'll go get a star for you.
Right. Well,
they did not take long.
Well, Shams reported it was Toronto.
He did. He 30 seconds after Adrian Wojnarowski put it out with being the Bucks, he said Toronto. And he had all the right names and everything. He just had the team wrong. And it was like, oh, Shams. But this move got a lot bigger because it is a 3-team move. It's a full, real 3-team move,
including DeAndre Ayton movement,
which is the big one. So it's Portland's getting Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, a 2029 unprotected first, a pick swap in 2028 and 2030 with the Bucks. The Suns get Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson, and of course the Bucks get Mr. Dame Time, Damian Lillard. Let's, I guess, go part by part here. What are your thoughts on what this does with the Bucks and giving Dame to Giannis? So it's now Dame, Giannis, Brook Lopez, and Chris Middleton as your 4.
Chris Middleton's the key to me to this whole thing because he was hurt almost all of last season. You know, when he played, he was playing hurt. Then there was a certain point he couldn't play. And to me, he is the key to all of this because he is going to be the bridge between what Giannis does and what Damian Lillard does. He will be the under-the-radar guy. And in a league that was starting to trend away from a big 3, this is like a big 2.5. And I say that with all respect to Middleton, who's a really good player. Middleton is not in the upper tier of stars, but he's the kind of guy that wins games for you. That's why, he was on the U.S. team and so forth, because he's the kind of winning player you need to have, a real worker. And I think that's going to be pivotal for them. They know that they've got a threat in Boston. They know they have a threat in Miami. Miami knocked them off in the playoffs last year. I'm not so sure that they see a threat in Philadelphia because Philadelphia may have Joel Embiid. Maxi's a good player, but they really are just a good team, not
because Mr. Beard is sitting there being like, I don't want to be here, and no one wants him, so it doesn't matter.
No, well, he is outstanding at putting up his own numbers, and when he tries to play team basketball, he looks like a fish out of water. It just is not natural for him to play that way. That's the way it is. Lillard's going to be interesting because he's had to be the show the entire time. I will say this. When he had C.J. McCollum, he shared the ball. So that tells me he can share the ball in this offense. Tim Frazier of Penn State played in that same backcourt with McCollum and Lillard. He will tell you nothing but great things about Lillard. And I've talked to Tim about him, and he will tell you nothing. I mean, because I've never been in the same room as Damian Lillard.
He's considered the most professional NBA player that is out there. I mean, there was rumors that if he got traded to some team he didn't want to go to, he would sit out. And every reporter was like, no, he's not. Like, Dame will not. He might be unhappy, but he's not going to not render his services. Right. He's going to play.
And his scoring may go down a couple of points a game, but you're at the stage of your career, in his career, where getting hardware means everything. I've always found it interesting. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when you ask him, who's the best point guard you've played with, it's not Magic Johnson. He'll tell everybody the best point guard he ever played with was Oscar Robertson. Oscar Robertson was with the Cincinnati Royals after leading the University of Cincinnati into the finals of the NCAA tournament and so forth. And Robertson was the show in Cincinnati. You know, they had Jerry Lucas. I mean, it's not like they didn't have some good players, but the problem was they couldn't get past the Celtics in the playoffs. Robertson got to late in his career, and they worked out a deal where the Bucks acquired him and paired him up, and everybody asked, was it even possible for Oscar Robertson to check his game in at the door and understand the value of having a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the post? And they won the title. And to this day, Kareem will tell you the best point guard he ever played with was Oscar Robertson, because he took his game and He retrofit it where he still had parts of his game, but understood that in order to get to the promised land, I've got this guy. I expect Lillard, to be honest with you, to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where his scoring maybe down a couple points overall because he's got Giannis, because he's got Middleton. He has more options than he's ever had in his career in playing the game. And there are going to be some nights where he'll be the guy that scores 30 to 35 points. There's going to be some nights he's going to be the guy that scores 14 to 18.
And there's the big thing people need to remember about Damian Lillard. Number one is that he's one of the best shooting guards ever seen. If you knock off the man named Steph Curry, he's probably the best shooting guard we've ever seen in the NBA. Sure. I mean, the things he does are...
He's a terrific player.
He is going to this team knowing he's not the guy. Like, he knows that. He knows this is Giannis's team. He's coming in here and he's saying to himself, okay, I'm going to have fun now because the team isn't on his back all of a sudden. Load is
There's a
gone.
point in your career where you know, after looking at everything, like what's missing. What's missing is he doesn't have a ring. And it's amazing that when you get a ring, how you then become elevated in the tiers of life as to how great you really are as a player. Imagine if Dan Marino had won a ring. He got to one Super Bowl in his career, and he's celebrated as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But boy, one ring would have done so much to even take that to another. Even one ring would have done that. Aaron Rodgers has a ring. Well, guess what? All right, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah.
And so is Trent Dilfer, but that's another topic, different day.
Oof.
Oh, please. He's doing a good job at UAB.
But whatever matter.
But
whatever.
I'm just saying, getting that title means a lot to these guys. And that's why you see guys coming together and trying to figure out how to win, wanting to make moves, putting these, quote, super teams together, because they all know that is the last piece of the puzzle. Now, Giannis and Middleton already have that. And Lopez is a terrific role player. I mean, he understands who he is and what he does.
He shot I think it is Brooklyn career in his first few years outside of Brooklyn. He shot like 3 or 4 total 3-pointers, and now he's one of the best, if not the best, shooting big man in the NBA. Plus, he also is is a defensive anchor. Like, defensively, you've got Giannis and Lopez the back. So if you go to the rim, you're going to get blocked.
And the other part, too, is they have changed coaches.
They've changed coaches. They've got Middleton's now healthy. Brooke Lopez is healthy. Giannis should be healthy. Dame should, they're all going to be healthy. They've got a whole team built around them. They've got a pretty good system overall.
I never would have made the move with Budenholzer. I'd have kept him, but that's just me. But that's who they are. They're they have to be considered the favorite to win it. And it does put more juice into the NBA when something like this happens. With all due respect to the good people of Portland, when you're out there playing in Portland, you can get a little lost.
Well, you can get a little lost.
Unless you're south of Portland in Eugene and you happen to beat Deion Sanders in Colorado.
Yes.
Then for a week, everybody knows where Oregon is.
Yes. But this is a good timing to make this move for them because, of course, all of the different NBA press conferences and things are happening next week. Next week is media days. That's when it starts for the NBA. So the Blazers traded Dame. They get him out. And now Scoot Henderson is the guy, and he doesn't have to get asked, you think Dame's going to get traded? Do you want Dame to stay? All these things. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He just gets to stay. Scoot Henderson, the guy drafted 3rd overall, who realistically is the future of your team. It's him, it's Shaedon Sharpe, it's Anthony Simons, and let's be honest, Drew Holiday is going to not be in Portland for a single game this season. He is going to be traded to someone in the next 3 days.
Yeah.
So Drew Holiday is going to get traded. DeAndre Ayton is interesting. His contract is a bit big, and no one really knows what.
Portland is fighting to be a 10th seed. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. Scoot Henderson may be a fine player. He's going to rack up some numbers because he's going to have unfettered access to do whatever he wants, but it's not going to be enough to do anything.
They have the weirdest contracts in the NBA. I mean, are albatrosses, I guess a lot of people would say. And Anthony Simons is getting paid $25 million. And he might be not even one of their 2 starting guards because Shaedon Sharpe they love, and they of course got Scoot to be point guard. Jeremy Grant's contract is high. Yeah. People were surprised by that. I think rightfully so. I love my Syracuse grad, but it's a big contract.
Right.
And then DeAndre Ayton's contract is a similar size, where it's like, I don't know if I'd be paying him that much. I mean, the Suns didn't want to pay it, but they had to, or they'd lose him for nothing to Indiana. So they've got these weird contracts, which I think they're kind of okay with having, because who else are they going to pay right now? Like, they have no reason to pay anybody. They have no reason to win. So your only thing is, let's let Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe develop, get them some time.
Well, you have to pay somebody. There's a floor.
There is a floor.
So you have to pay somebody.
And now they know who is going to be on that floor.
Right.
And where do you... I guess Drew Holiday's the question mark is, where does he end up? And I know where I think he's going to end up, and I think it's comical that how this is going to happen. I think he ends up in Miami.
Well,
I think Miami couldn't get the deal done for Dame because that was the whole thing. That was the reason Portland didn't trade him to Miami, is because they did not want Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and whatever that Jovic package was. They said, we don't want that. We want something better. Yeah. They got 3 technically firsts, and they got a couple players they could flip. They could flip Ayton if they needed to. Right. They also are going to flip Drew Holiday for something because, as every NBA player has said, he is the best wing defender in the NBA, right. And it's not close, right. Per everyone from Kevin Durant to Damian Lillard.
Sure.
So he's going to be flipped to, I think, realistically, Miami. They wanted a guard. He's not a bad one to get.
Yeah.
Get him on the deal. You send out like Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero. You get Drew Holiday back. I think that's a winning combination.
Big. Yeah.
And then the Suns just came out of nowhere in this one, and they restocked their entire team by getting rid of DeAndre Ayton.
Yes, they did. I wonder what Matt Ishbia is now thinking. Paid what, 4.1, billion. It's my understanding he's the guy that fronted a lot of the money for the Mel Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, Matt could save himself $79 million here. The Tucker thing, by the way, they have officially fired him. Mm-hmm. But they are going through with the review next week, which will be on Thursday, October 5th. And he will then sue. Mm-hmm. His idea is that I'm not going to get the $79 million, but if I could get whatever X amount of million, I can get something out of this. And you go from there. But now, of course, we have to figure out what Michigan State's going to do next. And we will then see at the end of the year where they are, because Penn State sees them at the end of the year. Yes, they do. And you have Michigan State and Iowa as your prime time game.
Oh, boy.
On NBC.
What is worse, that or the Bears-Broncos? What's a worse game?
Well, it's an awfully competitive question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're what? The Bears-Broncos is an average NCAA game.
And by the way, you have your first... Oh, geez. You mean Aaron Rodgers is out for the year and it's pre-scheduled? Kansas City and the Jets. Mm-hmm. I mean, how about that?
But the question everyone's asking is, will Taylor Swift be at MetLife? That's what matters, Steve. I'm asking that question. This matters to us. Because if she is, like, it's big news. It's huge news. What, you don't enjoy the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift drama going around?
Look, I'm thrilled for him. I mean, that's great. I hope everything works out for them.
Yeah.
But she doesn't play, so
That's fair.
I don't really worry too much.
I do have a topic for you, if you would.
She doesn't have something to do with winning or losing.
Fair.
So I don't really. I think it's nice.
I have a topic for you, though, that I am intrigued to hear your comments on. So, as we know, I enjoy soccer. And one of the top players in the world, or someone who's one of the most highly rated players, Victor Osimhen, plays for Napoli. They won the title last year. It was amazing. He's worth 9 figures on the transfer market. His team Napoli posted a TikTok mocking him for missing a penalty and for calling for a penalty. Like, have you ever seen a team mock their own player before? Their star player, a guy who everybody loves, has not done a thing wrong, and they openly mock him.
Okay. Did they do it during the game?
They did it after the game on social media. It was up for 2 full days. Fans were saying, "Why is this up?" They took it down, and he is now saying they played a game. Everyone on the team is like, "Why did the social media team post this?" And the chairman was like, "It's okay." And Osimhen and his agents are saying they've considered suing because his own team mocked him on social media. That you don't see that happen.
No, mocking on social media I have not seen. Now, in practice, have I seen in practice and for a play or two,
If it's a dumb play where it's like the butt fumble or something, that's one thing.
Okay.
But this was just...
I know, I'm saying, but in practice, and it's playful.
Right? This was malicious.
But this is malicious. No, I have not seen that. I don't quite get the reasoning behind it unless you are perceived by the other people as being a total complete jerk. And I don't know this person at all, so I have no idea. I mean, who he is, how he is, whatever. I mean, have I ever been around in my career? People are like, you could just tell that they were not well liked by their teammates. Yes, I have been around people I knew were not well liked by their teammates. And you could just see it in either the interaction or the body language that person was not liked or respected. That's rare. That's very, very rare. But have I seen it? Yes. But that's in practice. That dude makes a play in the game. They're all jumping up and down on him. But no, not like this. But social media is a completely different animal, and I don't quite get why. I don't know. I don't understand why.
I don't understand why. I also don't understand why a Phillies fan has an emotional support alligator. Did you see this?
Yeah, well, first of all, okay, this is a fan base over the years that booed Santa Claus and has thrown hot dogs at each other at Dollar Dog Night.
Yes, they have.
That's why I'm saying that Christmas Day is going to be interesting. They're going to throw it's going to be Dollar Dog Day. They're going to throw them at Santa Claus. All right. So, an emotional support alligator.
Yeah, WOWY. Do you not like WOWY the alligator?
WOWY Gator is the greatest alligator in the swamp.
Gosh darn right he is.
WOWY Gator. Cartoon from way back when. A
lot of thoughts, a lot of non-answers.
I don't quite get what makes certain people tick. How about that?
Yeah.
First of all, how did they transport it to the game?
Great question. Subway, maybe? Wouldn't surprise me in Philadelphia if you had an alligator on a subway.
I could see SEPTA right now. What the hell is that?
Speaking of baseball, though.
A gator?
Yeah.
I mean, and they told her, I mean, imagine the gall. I'm sorry, you can't bring that in. Really?
How dare you?
Have you ever been to the Everglades?
Seriously.
Support gator.
Yeah.
Let's see. So denied entry into Le Stade here.
How dare they?
Now, Phillies had a couple rough days.
Yes.
So,
But they did clinch, though. They did clinch a playoff spot.
no, they clinched. The state's policy and support animals on the Phillies official website. Certified service dogs or service dogs in training for guests with special needs are welcome. All other animals are prohibited. They do have photos.
They do. There are photos of said support alligator.
So let's just see how big Wally happens to be here.
He's an alligator.
I understand, but there are different sizes of alligator. Okay. I'm getting the big circle here.
Of course.
This one I had a chance to see Wally.
I know. You were so excited to see Wally, and now you can't. It's heartbreaking information for you, I'm guessing.
No, not particularly. I'll be able to survive, believe me.
Wally, I believe, is a good. This is Wally for you, Steve.
Okay, let me see Wally here.
This is Wally. I'm showing Steve currently. You guys can't see my laptop, but this is Wally. He's about the size of a general person. About 5 foot, 6 foot.
That's a decent sized alligator. What the heck?
He's a decent sized alligator, but also he's not too big where he's gonna eat a person easily. It'll take some effort for said support alligator, Mr. Wally. So
there's no way if somebody has an alligator in my row, I am moving seats. I'm not staying there.
But okay? Steve, that can't be the weirdest thing that's happened at Phillies games. As we've discussed, they have literally booed Santa Claus.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, I mean, they did that in the Eagles game.
But they boo them. They throw hot dogs at each other for fun. I mean, I do that as well. But
I saw alligators when I was playing golf at Hilton Head back in May. I was down there to speak when we went and played golf on Hilton Head Island. And there were alligators, but they were in the pond. They were not out walking around. I was playing at West Palm Beach once. I was playing the 18th hole, West Palm Beach. I hit driver off the tee, right? And it was one of those that sloped down toward the pond. And I hit it, boom, on the top of the fairway. And it obviously would trickle down. It trickled down to within about, let's say, 15 yards, like 45 feet, 15 yards from the pond. So we're going up to get the ball, right? And the alligator pops out of the pond. I looked at everybody and I said, excuse me. I said, I don't care how many strokes you penalize me. I'm taking a drop. I said, we're going to drop up there. I never did get the ball. No way.
Heartbreak.
No.
It was your favorite
heartbreak. Ball. No. There's certain things in life that you have to do that.
Yes, to live.
I mean, that say, you know what? And the guys are like, nope, no penalty, we're good.
Speaking of heartbreak, though, a lot of teams have begun missing out on the playoffs in the MLB, speaking of baseball.
Yes.
Who would you classify as having had the worst season out of a group of teams? We'll go the Cardinals, because they finished below the Pirates, which is saying something. The Mets, it's a fair team to put in here. The Angels, and the Yankees.
$279 million. It's the New York Yankees. I mean, when you spend that kind of money, and the Mets are right there side by side with them, when you spend that much money. Now, I realize that the Cardinals put money into Arenado. They put money into Paul Goldschmidt. I got that. The Angels have just been doing what the Angels do.
Just lose.
But the Yankees put $40 million into Aaron Judge. And then when they really needed him, he didn't play. Okay? When they needed him, he didn't play.
Yeah.
And he was eligible to come off the IL for weeks. Garrett Cole had a great year for them. I don't think he's pitching again this year.
He's done. They wrapped him up for the year.
He went a 2-hit complete game over Toronto, and a game Toronto needed. Right? So, and he was fabulous last night. He will win the Cy Young Award. He's 15-4. He will win it.
Imagine winning a Cy Young Award on this team. It's like what K-Rod did or Felix Hernandez did for a year.
Sure.
Where he just was so great on the Mariner teams, and they were just so bad.
But when you spend $279 million, and not only are you not going to make the playoffs, you're boring. I mean, the other day they played Arizona. Right? the entire ballpark was empty seats.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody there. I mean, I believe they announced that they played to 87% of capacity because the tickets sold.
Yeah. It was more like 2%.
All right. I mean, they're boring.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just like mediocre. They're boring.
They're boring and they're bad.
Right? And that's a big problem. Right? I mean, Giancarlo Stanton is hitting 191. 191.
Mm-hmm.
Really? And then, and then the other guy, he's out for a month. He hurt his toe. Well, guess what? Hey, you want to see? I do football.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know the number of guys I know they're banged up right now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
Apparently, Hal Steinbrenner is ordering a full audit of the team, and there's going to be major changes this offseason. We've heard this for years. There's going to be a change. As a Yankees fan, we keep hearing this, but you need to get rid of Boone. Cashman should be gone. He should be burnt at the stake. Like there needs to be a full overhaul of basically every single person in this front office and this staff because they're not good enough. They've made terrible trades who we have acknowledged, like Josh Donaldson being a terrible trade. Where is he? Not the Yankees.
Right.
He seems like a great guy. Super cool.
Who, Donaldson?
Donaldson. He seems like at least
he's had problems.
He's had problems, but he at least seems like he's a okay human being.
Okay.
But you make this trade knowing his flaws, and you're like, oh, his flaws won't be a problem. Dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if he was standing next to it, if he really wanted to. He couldn't throw the ball from third. He couldn't DH well. He couldn't hit. He couldn't hit anything. You put it on a tee, he wouldn't hit it. And you make this trade for him. You're like, yeah, that's fine. Make the trade for Montas. Out for the year, basically.
Well, here's the issue you have. In your division, you Baltimore, which will win the division. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay, which is already in the playoffs. Toronto, which is close to making it. The three combined, I believe, have about the payroll of the Yankees.
Maybe. That's they might get close to being half the Yankees.
Because I don't know what Toronto's got to be over $100 million. They have a lot of exciting young talent on that team. I mean, Toronto's got to be up around. Now, I realize that the Orioles' payroll went up a bit because they did pick up Hicks and they picked up Flaherty. But
overall, the Blue Jays are for 2023 $213 million. Okay. So they're quite big.
They're quite big.
But the other two teams are Baltimore's 28th with 71. Yeah. Tampa is 27th with 79.
Right.
So you combine the two of them, they are around half of the Yankees' payroll.
The Yankees are 279.
Around half, almost exactly half.
So
you're sitting at 150-ish. You're around the halfway mark there. That is like tragically bad. The only teams that have lower payrolls than those two teams are the Pirates and the Athletics. Right. Both teams known for not paying players. Right. Both teams known for being...
And let's give the Pirates credit. I thought the Pirates actually had a good season.
They have a better record than the New York Mets do.
And the Pirates, not only that, are actually a fun team to watch. And I spent, and I'll watch some Pirate games from time to time. They're a fun team to watch. Right? It doesn't mean they're going to win every single time out, but guess what? They put an exciting product on the field. The Yankees, absolutely horrible base running team. Right? Of course, you got to get guys on base first.
You can't field. You can't run bases.
Right? They're not a good, you can't hit fielding team. Well, the worst fielding team in baseball, both statistically and visually, is sitting 100 miles to the northeast of New York, and that's the Red Sox.
Yeah, who is it? Suzuki, I believe, or who?
The Red Sox.
Someone dropped a fly ball for them. That was gimme.
It could be Yamashita.
Whoever it was dropped a fly ball, and it was right to their bare basket. It's just like, oh
boy. That's the worst fielding team in the majors. And it's, but the Yankees just are
terrible.
Right, just not terrible. I mean, they're going to finish over 500, but they're mediocre, and they're just. I mean, look, you're talking about the entertainment dollar here, and let's take the Braves. The Braves are not only winning, but they're a really fun team to watch. Okay, Ronald Acuna Jr. last night did something that has never been done before.
Mm-hmm.
He has now hit 40 home runs for the season.
And
he has now stolen 70 bases. He stole 2 last night, so he has 71 now, right?
71. He stole the base and picked the base up and held it above his head, and it was the coolest moment.
Right. It was Ricky Henderson did that when he broke Lou Brock's record.
Mm-hmm.
So he does this, but he's entertaining. He's a fun player. They've got a lot of fun players on that team. Ozzie Albies is a fun player. Riley's a fun player. Olsen, may not be a dynamic swagger guy.
He's not Freddie Freeman, but
he hits with power. They've got pitching. They've got the whole thing. And guess what? They run the base as well. They steal bases. They hit with power. They hit in the clutch. They've got all this that they've got going for them. They play well defensively.
This is a fun team to watch.
And guess what? Okay, they rebuilt it from within. Yeah, they picked up Olsen when they lost Freeman.
But that's fair.
But what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. It's like the way Penn State football goes into the transfer portal and says, you know what? Okay, let's get, Chop Robinson could really help us. Instead of getting 50 guys in the transfer portal, they go, Chop Robinson will help us. Johnny Dixon will help us. That's how you judiciously go about using the transfer portal. It's the same thing in free agency.
Yeah.
They look around, they made, they picked up Olsen. Big. Because they lost Freeman. Okay.
Then they got players back who were hurt. This is a fun team to watch.
All right. And the Cubs announcers were disgusted by the fact they stopped the game and did a video. Okay. No offense. Okay. They stopped the game for everything in Major League Baseball. All right.
The game is faster this year. Let them stop the game for this video.
It's okay for for the club to celebrate a great moment that has never happened in the history of the game. It's fine. Embrace it. Okay. And then go to the next pitch.
This is one of baseball's brightest young stars. He is up there as one of the top names baseball is going to be talking about.
That's what's amazing about the Braves winning a couple of years ago. He got hurt. He tore his ACL trying to make a great play in the outfield in the corner, and they still won without him.
Yeah.
Imagine what this means to him if they could win it, because he wasn't on the field when they won it the last time.
You know what their payroll is? 206. They are the 10th highest payroll in baseball, but they are the number 1 team in baseball, and they look like fun. They are having fun. Strider is great. Olsen, great. Acuna, great. They have great people in every place.
5 guys that have hit 30 home runs or more on that team. 5 guys.
5 guys, great food, but also a great team.
Yeah.
And they currently have Max Fried is out hurt and Charlie Morton is out hurt, but Strider is one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Strider's a good pitcher.
They've got a ridiculously good team just everywhere.
Good bullpen.
Good outfield, good infield.
Brian Snickers is a very good manager. And they've built, for the vast majority of this team, is built up from within. And that's where you have to give the Braves a lot of credit. But they're dynamic. They're exciting. And people want to see that. They're entertained by that. I know there's been a lot of stuff thrown out about, you mentioned Taylor Swift earlier. Well, okay, guess what? Okay? It's fun that she's at the games. Okay? So it is fun. And believe me, we will see a lot of her on Sunday Night Football.
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. I have no problem with that. It brings another fan or a group of fans that may want to watch the game now because she's there. That's fine. I don't care. Doesn't mean I don't appreciate the fact that, hey, that's fine. And if they're doing well, I'm happy for them. Deion Sanders. This is what I call the Tom Brady effect. All right? And maybe Deion Sanders would resent me calling it the Tom Brady effect. But for 20 years, Tom Brady, there were a legion of fans that loved Tom Brady, a legion of fans that loved the New England Patriots, a legion of fans that could not wait to watch them play every week to see that they would win. There's also a legion of fans out there that hate Tom Brady, can't stand that he wins all the time, can't stand the Patriots, can't stand Belichick, and they're going to watch every single week because they want to see the Patriots crash and burn.
That would be
so
me.
now you take all these people that want to see the Patriots succeed and be great and Brady to be great, all these fans out there that want to see them crash and burn, and it leads to a gigantic rating. We now bring you to Eugene, Oregon on Saturday. On Saturday, all right, Colorado comes in 3-0. Oregon comes in 3-0. You have a segment of fans out there that they love what Deion's doing. They love the swagger. They love the bravado. They love how brash this team is, and so forth. And then you've got a segment of fans out there that just want to see Oregon crush them because they want to make sure that they're able to backhand them and take care of business and move on and watch Deion's team crash and burn. It combined for a 10.3 viewership, 10.3 million. It was the number one rated college game of the week. Notre Dame and Ohio State was not the number one most viewed game of the weekend. Oregon, Colorado was, because that's how you build a rating. The people that, like, there's a centralized personality that makes you want to watch pro or con. LeBron James has always been that way.
Steph Curry.
Okay? There's a segment. Yeah, not so much Curry. A lot of people like Curry seems like a lot of people really seem to like him.
But it was this thing of
but they don't want to see the Warriors.
The Warriors and LeBron. It was
but LeBron
ultimate.
LeBron is one of those, that legion of fans that want to see him succeed, be the best. He's the greatest. Look how great he is. I mean, he still looks like he could throw a vehicle over a hedge. He's so powerful.
His 21st year in the NBA.
It's just it's amazing. All right. And then you've got a whole bunch of people that want him to fail. So now you combine the two, and you get that's how you get people to watch. You've got
all-time ratings.
The hero, the villain, all wrapped into one.
And the crazy part was, like, the LeBron Warriors thing. We brought them up. Yeah. That was the single greatest storyline you could ever have. Yeah. This super team with the Warriors.
Right.
Some fans loved them. Some fans hated them.
Right.
And they had LeBron.
Right.
Some
when
fans
they
loved
had
them.
Durant, people didn't like the Warriors.
But that was the thing, is you had the guys, like a team that people loved and hated. And in LeBron, it's a team people loved and hated. Yeah. Like, you had the ultimate storyline, and you saw exactly what happened with that. It was the best ratings they've ever had in the NBA.
That's right. Right. And see, that makes the difference. And see, that's what, Deion Sanders is somebody that is going to have a lot of people that love the bravado, love how they go about their business, and there's going to be a segment of population out there that can't stand it, but they're going to watch. They're going to watch because they want to see. They want to. A big noon kickoff this week is going to be USC and Colorado. Now it's going to be 10 a.m. in Boulder. When the game kicks off.
Who's going to be awake for that?
On the USC body clock, it's going to be 9 a.m.
Yes.
Right? Which brings us to the next part. Who's going to watch it? The stadium's going to be filled. That's the Heisman Trophy winner out there. That's Shedeur Sanders out there. Our hero. Come on, go get him. Colorado will score this week. They did not score against Oregon. They will score this week. The USC defense is really no better than okay to good. They do, to their credit, get a lot of takeaways, but, man, they give up a lot of yards. They give up a lot of points, and that was the same pattern that Alex Grinch had with Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley had at Oklahoma. It's the same thing's happening at USC. So Colorado will score points. The problem is that USC is going to score 1.2 million points.
Yeah, USC is going to go score points, but score points in a better way.
Colorado doesn't have a very good defense to begin with.
And you lost.
Now they don't have Hunter. Really, the only other player they have defensively, Shiloh Sanders, I think is very good. Right? They're not really, especially in the trenches, they're not really great in the trenches offensively, and they're not great in the trenches defensively. And that's the part that, as time goes, that will make them an 8-4, 7-5 team along the way. That's the part that's going to hurt them. All right? Now, but you're also, because of the personality, you're going to deal with some ridiculous statements along the way. So let's get to Keyshawn Johnson.
Oh, boy.
Right? Other coaches were feeding the Oregon coaches information about Colorado. Keyshawn. Okay. Colorado has now played 3 games. They're all on tape.
I was going to say there's something called tape, which I believe people should use.
Okay. Right. And this is where I've said repeatedly, I give Deion and his staff a lot of credit. They have issues.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the keys to coaching is how can we take advantage of our strengths but mask our issues?
Mm-hmm.
Through the first 3 games, they did that. They masked just enough issues and accentuated their strengths, and they ended up 3-0. Well, the unfortunate part is, like, take TCU. Sonny Dykes and his staff had no idea what they were running into, right, in terms of what they could and couldn't do. Because there's no tape on them. Mm-hmm. Zero. I mean, they probably looked at Jackson State tape to get a read
on what he might do.
On what they might or might not do. And they probably looked at some Kent State tape because of Sean Lewis. Mm-hmm. All right? So they probably got a long look at Dante Cephas, for example. But they probably looked at Kent State tape to figure out, like, in combination, this is what they do at Jackson State. This is what Sean Lewis did at Kent State as the head coach. Now he's the offensive coordinator. But so you're kind of going into that game semi-blind.
Yeah.
All right? Now you get to the second game of the season. It was Nebraska. Nebraska's just not good enough offensively.
No.
Just, and it was Colorado's home opener. They win. Now you play Colorado State. Well, Colorado State, if you notice, now they had 2 games worth of tape, and they were able to take what TCU did offensively, because TCU broke 40 points on them, and say, hey, look, these are things that we can do to them. All right? And at the same time, there's certain things with the offensive line. Sanders had to, played a great game the way he brought them back. But now you've got 3 games of that. No offense, at this point, all the warts are out. Mm-hmm. Right? And you're sitting there going, okay. Right. That's why let's take Georgia. Brad Nestle's got Georgia-Auburn this week. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, Georgia has a couple things they have to cover up. Everybody does. But their ability to cover it up is they have so many strengths. They've only have to cover up a few things here, and they can do it. When you have multiple areas to cover up, it becomes very difficult to, quote, work around when you're playing teams that have better talent. Oregon has better talent. USC has better talent. Now, I don't know what the rest of their schedule is. I mean, at some point, they don't play everybody in the Pac-12 this year because you can only play 9 games. I know they play Utah at the end. And Utah's got a Friday night game with Oregon State this week. Mm-hmm. And by that point, Cam Rising will be back.
Yes. The rest of the season, Colorado has going forward USC. They're at Arizona State. They have Stanford at UCLA, versus Oregon State, versus Arizona, and then Washington State and Utah. So they have 3 more ranked opponents, not including USC as of this moment. So tough schedule.
7-5, 8-4. Mm-hmm. Look, and he gets to a bowl game. It's going to be the most watched bowl game outside of the college football playoff.
And what was their record last season?
Right, 1-11. But they can send them to, I don't know, pick one.
Hawaii.
No, but the Holiday Bowl, the Alamo Bowl,
Camping World Bowl is where
Las Vegas Bowl. Mm-hmm. Well, no, it's got to be a Pac-12 affiliated bowl.
Okay.
All right, it has to be a Pac-12 affiliated bowl. But people are going to sit there, whatever night it happens to be, they're going to watch it for the same reason. I want to see him win. I want to see him crash and burn. Okay, great. Hey, they all come together in the same living room. They're all watching the game. And that's just the way it is. Hey, it's the way it is.
It's a game of storylines.
All right. Yeah. And ESPN, they're loving it because, let's face it, they've got the Pac-12 this year, and they're moving to the Big 12 next year, and they already have the contract with the Big 12. So that they're going to be on all the time next year.
Oh, yeah.
Because with Oklahoma and Texas moving out, they won't be the best team, but they'll be the show. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it is. Meanwhile, it's interesting. Georgia, and I was talking to Brad about this, number 1 team, yet you feel like they're flying under the radar.
No, I have not heard a single person mention Georgia at any point this season.
Right. Now, I asked him, you'll hear on the show tomorrow, because I've already done the interview with Brad. Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
about Carson Beck and the quarterback. I mean, because look, this is all different than, remember, Jeff Monken is no longer the offensive coordinator. He's moved on to the NFL. I think he's with the Ravens now. So the new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. So there's certain things that they've had to work through. And they won over South Carolina 24-14, rally from 11 down to win. All right. But they've been an under the radar number one team. Michigan has not played really hasn't played anybody significant yet. But the story's been, there's been no Jim Harbaugh. I'm like, okay, great. All right. Texas has the big win over Alabama. Ohio State just had the big win over Notre Dame. Okay. Florida State had a win over LSU, and nobody knows how good LSU is. But they won at Clemson, so let's give Florida State credit. And then there's Penn State. Penn State's been under the radar the entire time, just literally going about its business, winning games. Penn State will get its opportunities. The schedule has opportunities built into it. So
I believe, October 21st, I believe?
I'm just saying, but the opportunities are built into the schedule. You just need to keep winning. It doesn't really, style points, whatever, right? You have your opportunities. And that's a big difference maker when you have opportunities available to you. Notre Dame, for example, doesn't have opportunities. I mean, they play at Clemson, but now Clemson's a 500 team.
And Syracuse is going to beat them this week, and they're going to go 2-3.
Right.
And
but they've got Duke this week. That's the primetime game.
Notre Dame Duke.
I mean, ESPN sent Fowler to London. You know that? Reese Davis is doing the game.
Yeah.
Notre Dame Duke.
It's a better basketball game than it would be football.
I'm not even sure if I watched it in hoops.
Back in the 2013s, 14s, with what Jarian Grant was the guard for Notre Dame, I believe. Those teams were fun to watch. I enjoyed those games.
Connaughton.
Pat Connaughton.
Who's now playing for the Bucks.
Teammate of Damian Lillard.
Yes, who now plays for the Bucks. Pat Connaughton was a good basketball player.
He was fun to watch.
He's a Boston kid.
All right. He's an Irish guy. It makes sense for him.
And Connaughton could play anything. He was also a good baseball player at
that
point.
Good baseball, good basketball. He's probably going to be their starting two guard with Dame Lillard next to him because he can defend.
But some of those Notre Dame teams,
good.
I remember when Penn State went in and beat Notre Dame in the NIT, in the second round. They had some dudes on that team, and Penn State won easily on St. Patrick's Day, no less.
Oof. Oof. Don't hurt Notre Dame fans like that, Steve. You're breaking their spirits, breaking their bodies.
Come on.
But what matters is it's going to be
and Mike Bray was the coach. And Mike is, I have nothing but good things to say about Mike.
Yeah. And
he's one of those guys Mike Bray is one of those guys that when you talk to him, he is not afraid to tell you what he thinks. Right? But he's just a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Well, Steve, that will do it for us here on Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a Seven Mountains Media production. Check back daily for all the latest sports news and analysis with